What I uncovered during my uncle's slumber, a genuine tale of betrayal. Once upon a time, there was a young woman named Ava, who was 22 years old. Picture this, a girl of my age, finding herself in the unexpected company of her uncle. The tale that unfolds is one you won't want to miss, especially with what lies ahead. To be truthful, I never envisioned that this would come to pass either. My journey in graphic design unfolds as I immerse myself in the world of drawing, crafting designs, and embracing the adventures of freelance work. Life has unfolded as a series of challenges. Since my parents parted ways during my childhood, I found myself on a journey, constantly seeking a sense of stability amidst the changes. In the end, I found myself residing with my Uncle Nathan. It was never intended to unfold this way. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, allowing me to weave more captivating true tales for you. Just like this one. Be sure to watch this video all the way through and give it a thumbs up, for the tale that unfolds is bound to captivate you. Kindly tap the like button to express your support. It all began when my mother had to leave for work, and I found myself in need of a place to stay while I wrapped up my college studies. Nathan, my uncle, stood as the sole beacon of support within our family, ready to lend a hand when it was most needed. Once upon a time, a man named him and his beloved wife, Victoria, embarked on their journey together, having shared a few years of marriage filled with love and companionship. In a picturesque abode nestled in the heart of the countryside, they reside, surrounded by nature's splendor. In a realm distant from the bustling city, I believed this would merely be a fleeting sojourn to a serene haven. Yet, as the months unfolded, the outcome diverged from my initial expectations. I had become accustomed to the house, the rhythm of daily life, and the tranquility. Or so it seemed to me. Ah, what a day it was. Once upon a time, an event unfolded. There's a tale I must unfold. It began as I stepped into Nathan's room, where he lay in slumber, but before I dive into the tale, be sure to subscribe to the channel, so you won't miss the unfolding adventures ahead. Of the tale. Allow me to share a tale about Nathan. He stands apart from the typical uncles in my life. Throughout my upbringing, he has consistently taken on the role of a guide rather than that of a traditional family member. He guided me in the art of riding a bike and showed me the secrets of fixing things around the house. And they even gifted me my very first car when I reached that milestone. At 18, when my mom found herself in need of someone to take me in, Nathan emerged as the clear choice. He possesses a deep sense of thoughtfulness, an abundance of patience, and a heart full of kindness. Yet, it wasn't solely him. I was embarking on a new chapter alongside his wife. Victoria had been part of the scene for some time now. 2 years have passed since they exchanged vows. At the beginning, I found myself uncertain about her. She holds more years than Nathan. And there was something about her, madam, that made her feel like an outsider in their home. At the outset, I found myself in the guest room at the far end of the house, striving to intervene gradually. As the moments unfolded, the tension began to dissipate and Victoria began offering me guidance on culinary skills, tidying up, and domestic affairs. We were not the closest of companions. Yet, it lacked the intensity it once held. They believed the tides were turning for the better, yet lately, a subtle shift has caught my attention. The more time I spent with Nathan, the more I felt an undeniable pull towards him. To him. His smiles, the gentle brush of his hand, and the way he would gaze at me when he believed I was lost in thought. Experienced. Distinct, it was impossible to overlook. Gather round. Between us, a vibrant energy began to take shape, one that was impossible to break free. I understand what you're pondering, Eva. What is it that you speak of? He is your uncle. That seems quite unbelievable. Indeed, this bond is unmistakable. I tried to shake it off, convincing myself it was all in my mind. Yet, whenever we found ourselves in solitude, the atmosphere was electric. As if an unseen force was weaving our paths into one. Once upon a time, as the sun dipped below the horizon, an intriguing evening began to unfold. Once dinner had settled, I found myself immersed in a project within the confines of my room, when suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed through the hallway. Nathan had drifted into a deep slumber, lost in dreams for hours, while Victoria. Once upon a time, I found myself in the company of friends. Once upon a time, we found ourselves isolated. At first, it didn't seem significant to me. But then I heard the door to his bedroom creak open. I paused for a moment, caught in a dilemma between letting him stew in his frustration or stepping inside. Yet, an unseen force gently beckoned me closer to him. As I gently pushed the door ajar, I made every effort to tread softly, not wishing to interrupt his moment. He lay on his back, one arm tucked behind his head, exuding a serene tranquility as he drifted into the embrace of slumber, bathed in soft light. From the window bathed his face in gentle shadows, rendering him nearly ethereal, as if he existed just beyond reach. I lingered for a heartbeat, my pulse quickening with anticipation. A warm sensation crept across my cheeks. My heartbeat hastened. Never had I experienced such feelings before. Perhaps I simply yearned to gaze upon him. Or perhaps it was something deeper, something beyond my understanding. My musings were abruptly halted as I inadvertently toppled a vase resting near his bed. The noise echoed. Nathan stirred, his eyes fluttering open, and for a fleeting moment, our gazes intertwined. In his eyes, a swirling tempest of confusion danced. Yet, there was an elusive essence, a feeling I struggled to articulate that had blinked a few times, striving to find clarity. Then, a groggy laugh escaped into the air. "Ava, what brings you to this place?" he inquired, his voice heavy with slumber. My heart raced with anticipation. As I wrestled with the elusive words, I wished to avoid the appearance of prying into matters that weren't mine. Yet, I found myself at a loss for words to convey my thoughts. My mouth felt parched. "Ah, my apologies for disturbing your slumber." I stumbled over my words, a flush of embarrassment creeping in. Nathan sat up, his hands moving gently in a soothing rhythm. His eyes offered me that familiar, patient smile he always wore. Yet, today, there was an unmistakable spark in his eyes, a glimmer that sent my heart racing. After a brief moment of observation, they finally chose to speak. Once more, he spoke softly, reassuringly. "Ah, you see, there's always a way to speak to me, Ava, I am present." For you nodded, a silent agreement hanging in the air. Yet my thoughts were whirling. Uncertainty enveloped me, leaving me at a loss for how to navigate this situation. Unusual sensation. The atmosphere in the room was thick with an unspoken weight. And I could sense my breath quickening. I simply wished to share a few words. I spoke softly. Nathan's smile dimmed ever so slightly. And I pondered. In that fleeting moment, I caught a glimpse of uncertainty flickering in his gaze. Before it disappeared, he gently caressed the bed. Beside him. "Gather around. You can always come to me," he said with a gentle smile. I lingered for a moment, caught in uncertainty. Yet, a force within me urged me onward instinctively, without a second thought. I sat next to him, the tension palpable in the air. Our bond was denser, more substantial than it had ever been. The warmth of his body pressed against mine, his cologne enveloping the space around us. In that moment, the world around us faded, and all I could sense was the rhythm of his breath, and the gentle rise and fall of his chest, a silent testament to our closeness. With every breath, my heart quickened once more. And gradually, as if time itself had slowed to a crawl, I gazed up at him. Our faces were so near that I could sense his warmth enveloping me. His gaze held a gentle uncertainty. Yet, there lingered an elusive essence, a spark that sent delightful shivers across my skin. "Ava. Are you all right?" Nathan inquired softly. Before I could respond, I drew nearer to him. My heart raced with anticipation. And my breath hitched in my chest. It was beyond my words. Yet, all around me, the atmosphere pulsed with an undeniable fervor. In the realm of contemplation, the atmosphere crackled with energy. Nathan chose not to withdraw. His gaze locked onto mine, brimming with a silent fervor. Silence enveloped him. Yet, his breath began to quicken, echoing the rhythm of my own. The atmosphere in the room embraced a gentle warmth. The quiet that enveloped us grew heavier, filled with thoughts left unvoiced. A tempest swirled within my mind. All paths converged here. Instance. I found it impossible to restrain myself, moving at a deliberate pace. I leaned in, my lips trembling as they brushed against his. Initially, there was a sense of uncertainty, a delicate hesitation, but as his lips brushed against mine, soft and gentle, I found myself unable to resist. Me. My thoughts cried out for me to halt. Yet my body stood firm against the call. This was essential for me. I yearned for Nathan's hand, gently guiding my cheek, drawing me nearer. His other hand lay gently beside us, caressing my skin. The warmth of his touch enveloped me. The kiss grew more intense. And soon it became difficult to discern the boundary of his lips. And thus my tale commenced. The remainder of existence faded away. It was merely the two of us entwined in this undeniable bond. My thoughts swirled in a whirlwind of uncertainty. There was a weight of guilt, yet intertwined with it was an unusual feeling of correctness. What were we up to? What made it seem so essential? It was beyond the reach of language. There's no reasoning to be found within it. He drew back for just a heartbeat. Upon his forehead, leaning softly against my own. Our breathing was weighty. Every breath, unsteady and deliberate. I could sense his heartbeat resonating against my skin, in perfect harmony. The swift rhythm of my own heartbeat. "Eva," his voice carried a gentle strain, hinting at unspoken depths. We ought not to delve further. Yet, uncertainty lingered within me. I consented, yet a part of me resisted, unwilling to accept any justification. To come to a gradual halt. I extended my hand towards him. As I wove my fingers together with his, a silent connection blossomed between us. He remained steadfast, not retreating. His fingers intertwined with mine, clinging to me with the same fervor that I clung to him. Our gazes intertwined. For a stretch of time, silence enveloped us. The burden of it all lingered in the space that separated us. As if guided by an unseen force, my hand found its way to the back of his neck, drawing him nearer. Kissed him once more. This time, there was a clear resolve. Fear not. Only the all-consuming. To truly sense his essence, I must remain near him. Nathan's hands glided softly along my back, pulling me nearer. The connection of our bodies ignited a fire of intensity that enveloped us completely. I found myself uncertain of the path ahead. Yet, I remained unfazed. I longed to linger in this instant where just the two of us were present, suspended in our own world. My heart raced within me as his lips brushed against my neck. Soft kisses pressed gently against my skin. His breath brushed softly against my ear, a whisper of intimacy in the air, sending a chill coursing through me. It was a sensation beyond anything I had ever experienced. Personal, all-encompassing, and profoundly misguided. Yet exhilarating in a manner I couldn't quite grasp. Share your confidence in this matter, he whispered softly. Against my skin, his voice dripped with longing. I wish to spare you any pain. With my eyes shut tight, I sought to uncover the essence of my voice. All that resided within me cried out to halt, to fall apart. Yet, I found myself unable to do so. The longing was. The desire is overwhelming, a force that cannot be ignored. I found myself weary of thought, longing for a moment of stillness. There was no desire to challenge the status quo. All I longed for was to be by his side. I'm certain I murmured, my fingers gliding across his chest, experiencing the gentle heat of his skin under my touch. I desire this, Nathan. I desire you. Once more, his lips sought out mine. And this time, the kiss held a profound intensity. More pressing. The path ahead was set, and retreat was no longer an option. The realm beyond these walls held no significance. It was solely the way he ignited a sense of desire within me. Essential and vibrant in a manner I had never felt before. Before the room appeared to envelop us. The light began to fade, casting shadows that danced across the room. The depth of our bond deepened. Each caress, each kiss, resonated with the whisper of unspoken promises, hinting at a deeper connection yet to unfold. Something lingered between us, a presence neither of us could fully grasp. Yet, we stand at the threshold, eager to embark on an adventure I could sense the rhythm of his heartbeat, unwavering and strong, in perfect harmony with my own. Submerging in the cadence of my own existence, even as a fragment of my being resisted the truth of what was unfolding. Unfolding a grander chapter of my existence. Yielded entirely. It had transcended mere kissing, it had become something deeper. It was a bond that defied explanation. A connection that transcended language itself. This desire has lingered in my heart for what feels like an eternity. Nathan breathed softly, his words barely a murmur. Soft and inviting upon my lips. His words were a distant echo, barely reaching my understanding as my hands explored the contours of his being. Experiencing the sinews and fibers that lie just beneath the surface. The warmth of his presence enveloped the path ahead. He replied to me, yet the path ahead was irrevocably set. There was only the magnetic force between us, drawing us closer in an undeniable way. Neither of us had anticipated that time would appear to freeze as we became completely absorbed in one another, enveloped in a serene cadence of our kisses. The gentle embrace of our hands. And for the first time, all was in harmony. In the quiet embrace of the room, we had transcended the roles of mere uncle and niece. Once upon a time, there existed a pair of souls, connected by an unseen thread. A sensation deeper and more powerful than anything I had ever experienced. The atmosphere surrounding Nathan and me was charged, heavy with unspoken words and palpable tension. Neither of us budging. Silence enveloped us. In an instant, the quiet was pierced by the creaking of the front door swinging open downstairs. We stood still, caught in the moment. My heart raced as I swiftly distanced myself from Nathan. A surge of panic washes over, overwhelming like a rising tide. My heart. What had we just embarked upon? As the events unfolded between us, a wave of guilt enveloped my being. Yet, it was intertwined with an undeniable yearning that I couldn't overlook. I found myself caught in the delicate balance between the fleeting moment we had just experienced and the undeniable truth that we were woven into something greater. We found ourselves in a situation that was not easily reversible. Nathan lingered for a moment, hesitant to take that first step. His gaze was fixed upon me, yet the emotions behind his face remained a mystery. The warmth radiated between us, a palpable connection that ignited the air around us. The enduring intimacy that still hung in the air. Ava, he murmured, his voice trembling before he could utter another word. The rhythmic sound of footsteps reverberated as they ascended the stairs. Nathan caught the sound of a voice that struck a familiar chord within me. My heart plummeted. It was Victoria. With a swift motion, I leaped off the bed. My breath quickens. and superficial. In that moment, uncertainty enveloped me, leaving me at a loss for action. Thoughts swirled around me like a tempest, each one vying for attention. Yet, I found myself unable to do so. Imagine a path leading you beyond this moment. Was I truly prepared to confront her after everything that had just unfolded? The door to Nathan's room creaked open, and there she stood. Victoria poised in the doorway. Her expression was a canvas of astonishment. Her visage. Her gaze danced with a spark. Between Nathan and I. Perplexity danced across her features as she absorbed the unfolding scene. Avahi. Nathan, what tale unfolds before us here? She inquired, her voice wavering with doubt. Yet, there lingered an additional element. A whisper of understanding. Perhaps that hinted to her that something was amiss. I could sense the life ebb away. My face, in the presence of Victoria, felt as if doused by a bucket of cold water. In that instant, a sense of disarray enveloped everything. It was beyond words, an enigma that defied explanation. There is no way to weave a narrative that could justify what had just transpired between Nathan and me. My throat constricted, a silent battle raging within as I sought the elusive words. We. I stumbled over my words. In a moment of uncertainty, one might find themselves pondering the next step to take. Behold, Nathan, now perched upon the bed. He appeared just as lost, his hand gently rubbing the back of his neck. Utterly mortified. At a loss for words on how to convey it. Victoria's eyes shifted from him to me. And there lingered a silence, rich with meaning. Comprehension. In that fleeting instant, it felt as though the very fabric of our reality had transformed. Victoria was aware. A moment had unfolded. Something that ought not to have happened. Yet, her response took me by surprise. Rather than feeling anger or disappointment. Once upon a time, there was just a profound, haunting sorrow. In this moment, she gracefully entered the room. She gently closed the door behind her. Her presence held a captivating authority. And the room descended into a peculiar, charged stillness. As if the world holds its breath, poised on the edge of anticipation. Ava. It is essential for you to grasp this. Once upon a time, there was something. Victoria spoke softly. Her voice. Gentler than I. In TC, I sense there's a deeper layer to this than you might perceive, more than meets the eye. Either of you. As I gazed upon her, the waves of confusion washed over my thoughts. What could she have meant? What else remained to be told? The hush. It hung in the air, a presence that remained long after Victoria had departed. She. Words lingered in the air, etching a lasting impression on us both. Amidst all the chaos, her serene comprehension and willingness to lead shone through. Bestowed upon me a delightful surprise. Hope wondered if Victoria was feeling any anger. She held us close, refusing to cast us aside, offering a chance that shimmered with fragility and uncertainty. Yet my gaze drifted towards Nathan. His face bore the weight of guilt intertwined with a haze of confusion. And there was an elusive element that I couldn't quite put my finger on. He averted his eyes from mine. His hands trembled with anticipation. Friction creating warmth. He sensed the gravity of the events, the way our realms had intertwined. Out of the blue. Yet, as I pondered further, it became increasingly clear that none of this had been orchestrated by anyone. Events had unraveled in ways we could not have anticipated. What I understood without a doubt was that we had to confront it head-on. We could no longer act as if nothing had happened. What transpired next was quite remarkable. Victoria had a point there. The emotions and uncertainty all needed to be confronted. And it had to be confronted directly and... Nathan. I murmured, my voice quivering just a touch. What shall we do next? Nathan cast his gaze in my direction. His eyes shimmered with a tapestry of emotions. I'm not quite sure, Ava. I am at a loss for my emotions. What to ponder? I'm uncertain whether I should feel anger, filled with a sense of embarrassment, or if I'm even permitted to experience anything at all. His voice trembled, unveiling the battle that rages within him. He was torn amidst the profound bond we had woven together, and his unwavering devotion to Victoria, his beloved wife. This predicament seemed insurmountable. Within a single exchange, it was not as straightforward as it seemed. With a deep breath, I paused for a moment and approached him with purpose, bridging the gap that lies ahead. I felt a strong urge to connect with him, to soothe him. Yet, I found myself questioning whether that was truly the path I should take. Did I lose sight of what was right? It seems that unraveling all the mysteries at this moment might be a bit beyond our reach. I spoke in a gentle whisper. However, I believe it's time for us to have a conversation, to speak truthfully with one another. This matter is far too intricate to overlook. Nathan inclined his head with a deliberate slowness. His expression was one of gravity, yet not filled with rage. Indeed. I understand. I'm unsure of how to begin this tale. I grasped his hand. The gentle caress, both soothing and filled with unexpressed feeling. We begin with an acknowledgement. Let me share with you the tale of what transpired, what we experienced, what lingers within us. And then we unveil what lies ahead. He gave a slight nod once more, his countenance gently easing just a touch. It won't be a walk in the park, Ava. Yet, I yearn to grasp the essence. I seek to unravel the tale of what is unfolding between us. I grasped his hand tightly. The touch was both soothing and laden with unexpressed feelings. I lack all the answers, Nathan. I find myself at a crossroads, uncertain of what lies ahead, yet I refuse to flee from this tangled web I've woven. No longer. We lingered in quietude for a brief moment, both adrift in contemplation, seeking to weave together the threads of understanding that had come to pass. A path lay shrouded in uncertainty. There are no simple solutions. The feelings, the bewilderment. It was all so consuming. Yet, what Victoria extended to us was a beacon of hope. A realm where we confront all challenges side by side, to face the chaos that had enveloped us. Within, I cast my gaze upon Nathan once more. And for the very first time, it seemed to me that, regardless of the circumstances, that was the case. What unfolded next? We would confront it head-on, with sincerity. There existed no flawless answer. There is no straightforward solution to mend the situation. Yet, there existed. Embrace the desire for understanding and healing, a yearning that perhaps holds the promise of something greater. As I reclined, my mind swirling with endless possibilities, Victoria lingered in my thoughts. And what she had expressed, her serenity, and her generous invitation to comprehend had unlocked a gateway. I was completely unaware of its existence. She had not turned away. She had not cast us aside. Rather, she had granted us the space to inhale, to reflect on the events that had unfolded. But what would unfold next? What twists and turns might await us? Should we dare to acknowledge the profound emotions that linger within us? Shall we take the next step on our journey? Or would the burden of it all prove to be overwhelming? Yet, those inquiries were meant for a different moment. At this very moment, There we were, Nathan and I, enveloped in the quiet of our mutual unease. We both understood that nothing would ever return to what it once was. All we could do was move forward, embracing the journey ahead. Whatever that may be, we would find a way to unravel it together.